Okay, now let's consider an example where I give an RC circuit with the resistance 2 kilo ohm, capacitance 4 millifarad, and that is connected to a battery of 10 volt through a switch S. Now, in the situation, what I do is I'll close the switch at t is equal to 0. So I start counting the time when switch is closed, and in the situation, this capacitor gets charged. Now here we need to find the maximum charge on the capacitor, maximum current in the circuit, the time constant for the circuit, the charge on this capacitor at any time t, and current in the circuit at any time t, and finally in this entire charging process until this capacitor reaches a steady state, in this entire process we need to find what is the heat dissipated in the resistor here. So basically this is a basic question that we can see in this RC circuit, which includes every segment. So coming to the first question, what is the maximum charge on the capacitor? Initially I consider this capacitor is chargeless. So already we know that the maximum charge on the capacitor, that Q max, is given by, when do you get that maximum charge at steady state? In that situation, no current in the circuit and the potential difference across this 10 volt should be equal to potential difference across this 4 millifarad capacitor. So let me write it directly, that is the capacitance into the potential difference across this, the maximum potential difference across this, that is 4 millifarad, or let me write it C, that's a required capacitance, into the maximum potential difference that can be obtained across this capacitor V max. So here in this charging process, what is the maximum potential difference that we can get across a capacitor? That is equal to 10 volt. So C is 4 millifarad into what is the maximum potential drop across this? That is 10 volt. So there we go. 4 into 10 power minus 2 coulomb. That is the maximum charge that can be attained on this capacitor. I am coming to this. What is the maximum current? So when do I have the maximum current here? Basically in the initial stage. So the maximum current can be written as the V max across that resistor by the resistance. Basically I am using V equal to R. So current is maximum in the circuit when potential difference across resistor is maximum. So potential difference across resistor should be maximum. And when do we have that maximum potential difference across this resistor? When the potential, all the potential difference is only across this, it should be 0. So here the maximum potential difference is 10 volt at instant t equal to 0. So that is 10 volt by, what are the resistance given? That is 2 kilo ohm. So what is the maximum current in the circuit comes out to be? It is 5000 amp. So that will be your maximum, it's 10 kilo ohm, not milli ohm. So you're getting it as 10 power 5 into 10 power minus 3 amp, 5 milliamp. That's the maximum current you are getting. And finally coming to the time constant. What is the time constant for the circuit? Just a single resistance and single capacitor which are connected in series. So it is the tau is equal to R into C directly. So check it. R is 2 kilo ohm and the capacitance is 4 millifarad. So you are getting it as 8 SI units, that is seconds. If at all you check that units of this time constant, that comes out to be seconds. So that's 8 SI unit, 8 seconds. Run with this. And finally charge as a function of time. So already we know that the Q at any time t is given by the equation Q max into 1 minus e power minus t by tau, which we derived. So that value is equal to Q max, we got it, tau we got it. So directly we can write Q as a function of time. So how much it is? 4 into 10 power minus 2 coulomb, that's Q max, into 1 minus e power minus t by 8. That is a charge at any time t is given by on this capacitor. Similarly, what is the current in the circuit at any time t is given by, so I at any time t is given by I max into e power minus t by tau. Already we got the I max, just I put down the things here. So the I max is 5 milliampere into e power minus t by 8. There we go. Current as a function of time and charge as a function of time, we got it. And finally we need to go for what are the heat dissipated in this entire charging process. So how to solve this? Basically it can be solved in two methods. One is finding this I at any time t, which we got it, and we'll find what is the heat dissipated within a short time interval, as that current is a variable, and we need to integrate from 0 to infinite to get the overall heat dissipated in the resistor. That's one way. And other method to find this heat dissipated is to from the energy conservation basis. Okay, either way it can be solved. That we see in detail, like how to solve this in two methods. Both methods that we look into now. Okay, now we see how to find out the heat dissipated across this resistor. So whenever you see in the circuit, the current I will keep on changing with time. And by the way, we know that equation also, that is I at any time t is given by I max into e power minus t by tau. That we know. That means current is changing with time. Now here in this situation, I want to find out what the heat dissipated across this resistor, and we know that is I square R into the time, but whereas this I is not a constant, it's changing with time. So it's a variable. So in this situation what we need to do? We will find the heat dissipated in a very small time interval, and within that small time interval we assume the current is not changing considerably, almost constant. So here what I do is at any time t, the current in the circuit is IT. Alright, so and I'll find and I assume between t and t plus dt time interval the current is almost constant, and that is IT. So the first assumption that we make is here between t and t plus dt time interval, that means over a time dt here, current is almost constant. Current is almost constant. So within this time interval dt, the heat dissipated, let me represent it with dH, and that is given by I square R into the time lapse, that is dt, and I at any time t. That's what the small amount of heat dissipated from t to t plus dt. So we'll find dH, then after we integrate to get the overall the heat dissipated. So we know that I at any time t. So how much it is? I max square into e power minus 2t by tau into r dt. Just it square substituted here. Then after, to get the overall heat dissipated, what we are supposed to do? Integrate it. And by the way, from what time to what time the current will be circulating in the circuit? From 0 to infinite, by the way. So that H is equal to this I max square into R, that's a constant, I'll take it out, and integration of e power minus 2t by tau dt from 0 to infinite. So here integration e power minus 2t by tau, so it's e power minus x integration, so you will get it as e power, let me show this, I max square into R into integration of e power minus x is e power minus x by x actually here, so e power minus 2t by tau divided by differentiate, basically it's a function inside a function, so differentiation of the internal function, so differentiation of this comes out to be minus 2 by tau. This is what you get, and the limits are from 0 to infinite. There we go. And by the way, we know that this tau is nothing but R into C, and here I max is nothing but E by R. Okay, so here let me put down the things. So finally that heat is equal to I max, the maximum current in circuit, is equal to EMF of the battery by R. So that is E square by R square into R. And here putting the and one more thing here 2 by tau. Tau is nothing but RC. So here RC by 2. Just I will keep this minus inside by swapping the limits. So finally here I will get e power 0 minus e power minus infinite. So finally this e power 0 is 1, e power minus infinite is 0, and this r and r square cancel. Finally I will get the answer as CE square upon 2. So there we go, guys. How much heat is dissipated in this resistor means, yeah, this is a resistance R, capacitance C, battery EMF is E. Then that comes out to be C square upon 2, where the heat dissipated comes out to be independent of the resistance. So whatever the resistance value, irrespective of that, the heat dissipated depends on the capacitance and the EMF of the battery that we used. And if you observe clearly, the work done by the battery comes out to be C square, and half of that work done by the battery is stored here in the capacitor, and remaining half of the energy is dissipated in the resistor. That's what, on the energy basis also the same question can be solved. Okay, so using this I square R dt, integrating from 0 to infinite, this is what we got. Next we see the second method to find the heat dissipated in the entire charging process of this capacitor using energy method basis. So initially the capacitor is uncharged, so there is no energy stored here. And in steady state, if you see, the capacitor will be getting the full charge, that is C into E. Okay, so let's say this is EMF E, the capacitor is having C capacitance and the resistor R. So in steady state, it will have the complete charge. How much that is? C E. So the Q max at steady state is equal to C into E. C times E. That means initially 0 charge, finally it got plus minus C in this process. From the right plate of the capacitor, C times E charge flows through the battery. So in this process, the work done by the battery is written as EMF into charge flown through it. That's a work done by the battery. So how much it is? How much charge is flown? C into E. So there we go. C E square is the work done by the battery. And out of that work done by the battery, so what happens here? There is some energy stored in the capacitor. So in the final state, steady state, what is the charge stored in the capacitor means C. Plus minus C is a final charge on the capacitor. And in this process, if C charge is stored in the capacitor, what is the energy stored in the capacitor? Energy stored in capacitor when the charge carried by it is CE is given by half CE square. We know this. That means battery is supplying CE square energy. Out of that, half CE square energy is stored in the capacitor. That means the remaining energy should be lost in the resistor in the form of heat. So simply, what is the equation I can write? Work done by the battery is equal to energy stored in the capacitor plus the heat dissipated in the circuit, and obviously there is no other dissipative circuit element here except the resistance. So directly I can say that is heat dissipated in resistor. So here the work done by the battery, we know how much it is. Ce square should be is equal to energy stored in the capacitor half Ce square plus heat dissipated. From this we get the heat dissipated in the resistor as half times Ce square. Okay, so heat dissipated is equal to half Ce square. So again here you see that that matches with the previous method, and now here the heat dissipated, again it is independent of the resistance. So irrespective of the resistance, whenever a capacitor is charged, if we do some work Ce square, half energy stored in the capacitor, half energy dissipated in the resistor. Alright, and once we got that relation that H is equal to half Ce square, just putting down the values, the resistance and the capacity values, we can get what is the heat dissipated. Okay, so here in this case, what the heat dissipated comes out to be half into C into E square SI units. So how much do I get? Heat dissipated is equal to 0.2 joules you will get. That is the heat dissipated in the circuit in entire charging process. Alright, so that is what we got. But let me ask you one more question here. If at all in the circuit, whatever the resistance of the wires I am connecting, if I neglect that, that means I am considering an ideal case where the resistance of the circuit is 0. In that situation, what will be the in that situation also the energy supplied by the battery comes out to be Ce square, energy stored in the capacitor comes out to be half Ce square. But where did that remaining half of the energy will go? If there is resistor present, means then there will be some heat dissipated in the resistor. But if there is no resistance, no I square atom, no heat dissipated in the, first of all resistance is absent, so no question of heat dissipation. Then also if you observe, Ce square will be the work done by the battery, half Ce square is energy stored in the capacitor, that means remaining half Ce square, it will disappear, but where and how, in which form? That was the question. So we are neglecting the resistance of the connecting wire and the resistance of the capacitor plates also. Okay, zero resistance in the circuit, but there still you see there is half Ce square energy lost. How and why it is losing? Okay, that was the question. Just think about that for a while, guys. Okay, let's consider another example where 3 resistance and 3 capacitors are connected via a battery of EMF E, and now here the switch is closed at time t is equal to 0. I started counting the time at t equal to 0 when the switch was closed, and in this situation I want to find out what is the time constant of the circuit, maximum current in the circuit, maximum charge on the capacitor, any capacitor, okay, and what is the charge on any capacitor as a function of time, and what is the current through any resistor as a function of time. By the way, here as every resistor and capacitor are connected in a series, current through every resistor will be same at any time, or maybe the maximum current also though, and the maximum current also the same. And as 3 capacitors are connected in series, end-to-end connection, so that's why here the charge on any capacitor should be same at any time, and obviously maximum charge should be also same. Okay, so first of all, just I convert this one into a simplified form as every resistor and every capacitor is connected in series. The simplified circuit looks like what? R, 2R and 3R are connected in series, that is 1, 6R. And here C, 3C and 6C, 3 capacitors are connected in series. So the effective capacity becomes 2C by 3. And this is connected across a battery of EMF E. That's a simplified circuit. And this simplified circuit, for this I'm finding what is the time constant. So let me write this directly. So R into C. So here in this case, what is the effective capacity? What is the effective or the equivalent time constant comes out to be? R equivalent into C equivalent. So 6R into 2C by 3 are great as 4RC. And what is the maximum current in the circuit here? Clockwise you get how much E divided by this resistance at T is equal to 0. So that is E by 6R. And what is the Q max? Effective capacity into EMF, that is 2CE by 3. Okay. And finally, using these things, what is the charge at any time T is given by Q max, that is 2CE. Okay. 2 CE by 3 times 1 minus e power minus t by tau. What is that tau equivalent we got? 4RC. And similarly, what is the I at any time t is given by I max of, that is, what is the I max we got? It is E by 6R into e power minus t by 4RC. That is what basically whenever they ask any question, just I try to get the tau equivalent, I max, Q max, then after just I put down in this equation which we derived previously, that is Q at any time t is equal to Q max into 1 minus e power minus t by tau equivalent, and I at any time t is given by I max into e power minus t by tau equivalent. So just I find this tau equivalent, I max, Q max, then any further thing that they'll ask, from this we can get anything. Okay. Okay. Now we go for the next example where I give an RC circuit, but this time multiple resistors and multiple capacitors, and this is connected to a battery of EMF E and which have some internal resistance 3R. Now I close the switch at time t is equal to 0. Now for this situation I want to find out what is this equivalent time constant for the capacitor C and for the capacitor 2C, and then what is the maximum charge on C, 2C, what is the maximum current passing through this R and 2R, nothing but the branch containing the C and 2C, and what is the charge on the C as a function of time and 2C as a function of time, or what is the current passing through the branches as a function of time. Simply I am asking time constants, maximum charges, charge as a function of time, maximum currents, and current as a function of time. So these are the set of questions which I am asking here. So for the situation, first of all we look into this tau equivalent. How to calculate this tau equivalent? Whenever one single capacitor, single resistor is there, directly I can write as R into C. But the problem is whenever we have multiple capacitors and resistors, so then how to find out? So already we saw the logic that we go through. So here I want to find out what is the tau equivalent. We know that tau equivalent is equal to R equivalent into C equivalent. Okay. So what is this R equivalent or what is the C equivalent? That we see now in detail. So R equivalent, whenever you want to find out the R equivalent for any capacitor, actually for this capacitor, let's say I am focusing on this capacitor now. For this capacitor I want to find out the tau equivalent. So what I do here? First of all, let's find out the R equivalent. So how to find out R equivalent? To find R equivalent, we short circuit all capacitors and all batteries present in the circuit. Okay. To find R equivalent, short all capacitors and batteries. Okay. And short all capacitors, I repeat, except the required capacitor. So I'm asking that what is the tau equivalent for the C, right? So except that capacitor, short all capacitors and batteries in the circuit. So then what a simplified circuit comes out to be? Here, R 2R, and this is 3R. 2R, 3R, R. Okay, except that required capacitor, remaining all capacitors and batteries should be shorted. And across the plates of the required capacitor, we need to find what is the R equivalent. So I repeat, across these two terminals, find the R effective of the circuit. So that will be your R equivalent. So here, if at all you check, here 2R and 3R both are in parallel. So it is, and that result is in series with this R. So what is the R equivalent comes out to be? First these two parallel and the result series. 2R, 3R in parallel, that is in series with R. So solving that, you will get it as 6R by 5 plus R. So R equivalent comes out to be 11R by 5. So we got R equivalent here. And how to find out the C equivalent? Again the logic guys here, whenever for this capacitor I'm asking what is the tau equivalent, in that we have the C equivalent, right? So that C equivalent, to calculate that, once again in the given circuit we need to short circuit all batteries and all resistors. I repeat, we need to short circuit all batteries and resistors in the circuit. So let me write here, C equivalent is how to find out? Short all batteries and resistors. Okay, and after that we need to find the C effective across the required capacitor. Okay, across the required capacitor we need to find out the C effective. After finding the C effective, assume this C is in series with that C effective. Okay, so I repeat, here across these two terminals, okay, first of all I short all batteries and the resistors. So what do I get guys here? Just I am redrawing a circuit, shorting all resistors and batteries. This is the circuit I get. And across these two plates of that required capacitor, we need to find out the C effective. By the way, what is the C effective I am getting here? Infinite, because only one capacitor is there and that is also short circuited. So what is the C effective? That is infinite, nothing but a wire. I repeat, nothing but a wire. Okay, so now after this what we need to do, this is C effective across AB. Let's call this terminals AB. C effective across AB is equal to infinite, nothing but shorted wire. Now whatever the C effective we got, we need to assume that C effective is in series with that required capacitor. Okay, so required capacitor C, that is in series with C effective whatever we calculated. Okay, now that overall capacity of this is your C equivalent, and if at all you check that this is infinite, right? Use that formula. A series, right? 1 by C plus 1 by infinite is equal to 1 by C equivalent. So what is the answer you will get? C only. You will get it as C. Okay, so we got R equivalent, we got C equivalent also. So what is the time constant for C? It will be equal to, it is 11 RC by 5. That will be the C equivalent for the capacitor C. Similarly, if you want, we can find out the what is the tau equivalent for the 2C also. Okay, for 2C also we can find what is the tau equivalent. Okay, we see that next. Okay, now we see how to find out this tau equivalent for the 2C. Already we done for C, now let's calculate for 2C also. Now for this, what we need to do? Again the same logic, we need to short all capacitors and all batteries and across the required capacitor. This time what is my required capacitor? It is not C, it is 2C. This is my required capacitor. Across the required capacitor, find that R effective. So just I draw the circuit for that. across the required capacitor plates. Here I have 2R and here R, and that C is shorted, and here the battery is also shorted, and this is 3R. Check it out. Here R, 3R both are in parallel, and the result is in series with 2R. Okay, so here 3R and R parallel, I'll get it as 3R by 4, and that is in series with 2R. So here the R equivalent comes out to be 3R by 4 plus 2R. So that will be is equal to 11R by 4. There you go. So that will be your R effective or R equivalent. Now, how to get this equivalent? The same logic. Short all batteries and resistors, and we find C effective across the required plates of the capacitor. That means across these two plates, short all resistors and batteries. Then after we find the C effective. So what do I get here? So just I'm redrawing the circuit. This is C. All resistors and batteries are shorted, and across these two terminals I'm going to find what is the C effective. By the way, this capacitor is also short circuited from outside. That means what is the C effective across these terminals? So here the C effective comes out to be infinite because it's a shorted wire. Now, according to the logic, what we do next to find the C equivalent? Assume that C effective across this required plates, terminals of the required capacitor plates. That C effective, whatever we got, assume that is in series with this own capacitor. Alright, that means the C equivalent is nothing but that C effective and the required C. Whatever that capacitor is there, I assume these two are connected in series. And by the way, this is we know infinite. And what is that required capacitor? It is 2C. And what is the capacity across this two? Now that C equivalent comes out to be what? Use that series formula, you will get it as 2C again. So we got R equivalent is 11R by 4 and C equivalent is 2C. That means across 2C capacitor, what is the equivalent time constant means? That R equivalent into C equivalent, you will get it as 11RC by 2. Alright, you are getting different time constants for different capacitors here. Alright, that means the whenever you see the exponent for the C and 2C, that also change, that is also different. Okay, so now after this we can move on to what is the Q max, what is the I max, and then after we can find them in detail. Okay. Okay, now let's see how to find out the maximum charges of the capacitor. Here we know that when do you get that Q max in steady state, and how does the capacitor behaves in the steady state? When it has this Q max, it behaves like open circuit because already it is maximum charge. Already it has attained that maximum charge. It's not further getting charged. So the charge on this capacitor is maximum in steady state. It is equal to infinite, at which the capacitor behaves as open circuit. So that logic we use directly here, and I redraw the circuit. So to get the Q max, okay, let me write that. Q max is attained at steady state, at which capacitor behaves as open circuit. Alright. Using this logic, let's draw the circuit in steady state. All capacitors are fully charged. No more further charging. So that is E, 3R, 2R, R. So, as is our open circuit, no current flows here in steady state. So the current in any branch in steady state is 0. But whenever you apply the loop equation, here the potential difference should be equal to here potential difference here. What is the potential difference equal to E? So here also potential difference E and E. Okay. So here the potential difference equal to E. Same way here also the potential difference equal to E. Alright. Now we find the potential difference across that required capacitors, and that potential difference in steady state where no more further charging takes place or no current flows through that branch of that capacitor. In that situation, find that potential difference or maximum potential difference. Okay, and that maximum potential difference into the respective capacity will give you the maximum charge. So for this capacitor, what is the maximum charge? Q max on C is equal to C into E. And here maximum potential difference is E. That means what is the maximum charge it can attain? The Q max on 2C is equal to 2CE. Simply the potential difference into maximum potential difference into its own capacity. Okay. So the Q max, how to calculate that? Maximum potential difference, by the way, that is attained in steady state, times the capacitance of the required capacitor. Alright. So on this capacitor, what is that maximum charge means? CE. On this capacitor, what is the maximum charge means? 2CE. So here on C is C into E, on 2C is 2C into E. Alright. So that's how we calculate the Q max. That's quite easy. Find maximum potential difference into C. Alright. Next we see how to find out that I max, that is maximum current passing through any branch of the capacitor. Alright. Okay, now let's see how to find out the I max. By the way, when do you get the maximum current in the circuit or maybe through any branch of the capacitor? When the potential difference across the capacitor is that's smallest possible value, that is 0. That means when capacitor is not charged, that means in the initial stage. So simply writing that I max, you get the maximum current in any branch of the circuit when the capacitors are uncharged, or I can write as initial state. Okay. And by the way, how does the capacitor behaves in the initial state? No charge. Q by C is equal to 0. That means potential drop across any capacitor is 0. That is capacitor is shorted. That means short circuited. Okay. Now just drawing that effective circuit here. This capacitor plates behaves like short circuit, and here also the capacitor plates behaves like short circuit. So this is E, this is 3R, this is 2R, and this capacitor shorted, and this is R, and this capacitor also shorted. This is how the circuit behaves initially, immediately after closing the switch at equal to 0. Okay. Now here in the situation, the current here and the current here, we can find it easily. And the current here will be maximum in this branch, in this state. So in this state here also, the current in this branch will be maximum. So using the Kirchhoff laws or using the equivalent circuits, we can find what is that current in every branch here. Okay, so let me use that equivalent circuit concept here. R to R both are in parallel, so it is 2R by 3 effective, and that is in series with 3R. So what is the current passing through here? So I can say that across this battery, what is the effective resistance? R to R parallel to R by 3, and that is in parallel with 3R. So 2R by 3 is in series with 3R, that is the effective resistance across this battery. So from here, how much current will be flowing? Let's call it as I1 or I across battery. Okay, so I across battery is equal to how much? This is E divided by the effective resistance 11R by 3. 11R by 3 you get. So that is the current passing through the battery, or the maximum current passing through the battery. Now across this, how much current will be flowing? And as these R to R are connected in parallel, here one part and here two parts will flow. Okay, inversely proportional to the resistance out of this current through the battery. So here the current passing through 2R or 2C, and here current passing through R. So current passing through R can be written as this battery current is divided into 3 parts. In that 3 parts, 1 part here, 2 parts here, it will flow. So let me write that battery current by 3 into 2, that is 2E 6E by 11R. Let me check it out. It's 2E. 2E by 11R you get. And the current through 2R comes out to be the current through battery divided by 3 in that one part. So there we go here. E by 11R. That's the current through, maximum current through 2R. So here the maximum current through R is how much? 2E by 11R. Maximum current through 2R is E by 11R. There we go. So the maximum currents we got it. So the logic is simple, guys. In initial state, the current in the circuits through any capacitor is maximum. In that stage, the capacitors have zero charge, zero potential difference, behaves like a short circuit. After that, we need to solve it in a normal way to get that current through any given branch or through any given capacitor. Alright? Okay, now to find the charge on the C as a function of time or the 2C as a function of time, what we need to go for? So, whenever they ask any capacitor or resistor, so how to find out the Q as a function of time? Let's talk about the complete story of every capacitor. For the capacitor C, let's talk the complete story. So the first thing that we need to find is the tau equivalent. We got it already. How much is the tau equivalent for C? That is 11R C by 5. And the second thing is, okay, the tau equivalent we got it. And the next thing is, we need to find what is the Q max on that. Q max on that C comes out, what we got it? We got it as C into E. Okay. And also we got the I max. So what is that I max we got? It is E by across C, it got out to be 2E by 11R. That's what we got. Now we got the tau equivalent, Q max and I max for the C. Alright. Now can we find the Q as a function of time on C? Q as a function of time on C is equal to Q max into 1 minus e power minus t by tau equivalent, that is 11 RC by 5. As simple as that. Now, I as a function of time on C. I max into e power minus t by tau equivalent, that is 11 RC by 5. As simple as that. So just we need to find tau equivalent to max I max for any capacitor that they give in the given circuit. Then after we can find Q as a function of time, I as a function of time. Okay. Now if you talk about 2C, we know what is the tau equivalent? It is 11 RC by 2. 11 RC by 2. And Q max, we got it as 2CE. And I max, that is E by 11R. We got. So we got tau equivalent, Q max and I max. Now, how to get that Q as a function of time on this 2C? That is Q max into 1 minus e power minus t by tau equivalent. But tau equivalent here in this case is 11 RC by 2. And then going for I as a function of time on 2C. That is I max into e power minus t by tau equivalent, that is 11 RC by 2. The equivalent time constant may be different for different electrical circuit elements here. Okay, for different capacitor, different values you are getting. Now we got I as a function of time through capacitor C and I as a function of time through capacitor 2C. Now I am asking what is the I as a function of time through battery, that is equal to I1 plus I2. Just use a Kirchhoff law directly. So I through battery is equal to what it is? This current plus this current. Directly I get it, that is E by 11 hour times e power minus t by 11 RC by 2 plus 2 into e power minus t by 11 RC by 5. There we go. Just using the Kirchhoff law. By this way, we are able to find what is the current passing through battery as well. Okay. So using this concept of the tau equivalent, Q max, I max calculation, then after any question that they can ask, we will be able to solve them. Okay. Okay, now let's consider another set of questions. Here, the circuits are given, and in all these questions, the switches are closed at t is equal to 0. And in every question, I want to find out what is the charge on any capacitor as a function of time, and what is the current passing through every capacitor as a function of time, and also through the battery. So simply speaking, I want to find charge on every capacitor and current passing through any branch of the capacitor and also through the battery as a function of time. So here also, here switch is closed at t equal to 0. Find charge on this capacitor as a function of time, and this as a function of time, this as a function of time. Current passing through this branch, and through battery as a function of time. Same way here, switch is closed at equal to 0. We need to find what is the charge on this capacitor as a function of time, this capacitor as a function of time, and current passing through this branch as a function of time, this branch as a function of time, and this branch as a function of time. Okay.